What's up guys, Pokémon here, and welcome to the next episode where I'm going to be showing you guys how to make your very own custom Pokemon cards like I have right here. Now, since you are making your very own Pokemon cards, the possibilities are completely endless, and whatever you choose to make is really entirely up to you. If you want, they don't even need to be Pokemon at all. You create your own creatures to battle and trade with your friends, or you could even do characters from your other favorite franchises such as Minecraft or Among Us. You don't even need to be the artistic type to be successful in this project. As you can see on the left, I've got one hand-drawn Charizard, but on the right, I've got another one that's simply an image. So, if you guys want to learn how to do this all on your own, let's get into the video. But before we start, I'm guessing you have some interest in Pokemon, right? I mean, you're here, and you're learning how to make them, so it really would be quite weird if you didn't. But something you may not have known about Pokemon is that they're actually Japanese. And as you can see here, I've got two Celebi cards, both of which came from Japan, and I've yet to release in any English sets. But you know what else comes from Japan? That's right, Bokksu! I'm very excited to announce Bokksu as my channel's very first sponsor, not only because they're helping me bring you videos just like this more often, but also because their product is actually pretty awesome. Bokksu is a premium monthly snack box subscription service that delivers an assortment of hand-picked Japanese snacks and tea pairings curated around cultural themes and seasonal flavors. Bokksu honors Japanese heritage and empowers artisanal makers by being the only Japanese snack box that partners with 100-plus-year-old family snack makers to give you an authentic and exclusive taste of Japan right to your front door and with free shipping to the US. So if you want to try a unique part of Japanese culture that you may not have been able to experience before, use my code WITCO20 to get 20% off your first authentic Japanese snack box from Bokksu. Take advantage of this limited time offer and use my code to support both Bokksu and my channel so that I can keep bringing you videos just like this one. Now, first time customers will receive the Seasons of Japan box so that they can get a taste of Japan in all the different seasons. And repeated customers will get a special themed box every month, just like this one right here, which is called the Summer Fruits box and is a special themed box for the month of July. As you can see, we've got a ton of snacks here, and taking a look at this included pamphlet, we can see we've got them from all over Japan. We've also got a ton of variety here, ranging from fluffy pastry-type sweets to sugary gummies, and even savory crackers. Not to mention the tea. I sure will have a good time trying out all of these, and I know you guys will too. So to begin, your very first step will be to create a template. I'll be showing you guys how to do this online, which means for this video, you will need access to a computer and a printer. However, if you do not have access to either of those, I will have a video out, hopefully shortly, about making Pokemon cards from scratch. So do not fear, and it should be in the description. Alright, so when creating your template online, you can do this one of two ways. You can either Google full art Pokemon card template, or really any type of template you want, take an image and use that. As you can see here, there are many options from the full art tag team to basic EX to really anything you want. So you can take an image and use that, or you can use a website to create your own template complete with the text and all, which is the method I'll be using because I think it is a lot easier, a lot less work, and it makes everything look a lot more perfect with minimal skill. So basically you're choosing if you'd like to do it completely by yourself, or if you'd like to get a little bit of help from a website, which you can access by simply searching up Pokemon Card Maker. And as you can see, two great websites will pop up, both of which I've used and highly recommend. The second one, PokemonCard.net, and this first one, MyPokemonCard.com. This is actually the one I use to make my Charizard cards. This one is great for making newer style cards, such as Sun and Moon style, X and Y style, Black and White, you name it. This one is great for that. As you can see, you can input all your cards information here. Both these websites function pretty much the exact same. So the second one, PokemonCard.net, this is the one I'll be using in this video actually, and this one is great for making older style cards, but it's limited just to that. So just go ahead and choose the website or the method that would work best for you. And as you can see here, I'm simply just choosing the type, the name, its HP, its description, and so forth. You can take inspiration from pre-existing cards for this, or you can even create it entirely from your imagination, which is what I'm doing with this Celebi. But in any case, it's your drawing or your Pokemon card, so do whatever you want. Again, it's entirely up to you. And without further ado, let's get into this. So as you can see here, I'm completely done with my template, and once you're done with your template, make sure that you double check everything from the attacks to the HP, absolutely everything. Make sure this is perfect and exactly the way you want it, because obviously it's better to catch a mistake now rather than after you've printed. Again, as I said earlier, you can leave this white picture area here blank, or in this box right over here, you can upload your very own image, as I've done right here. And when I go ahead and click the generate button, my Celebi should pop up. So here we go, clicking generate button, and there's my Celebi. So if I wanted, I can go ahead and just print this, and I would be done my card. So if that's something you'd like to do, then go ahead and do it. And if not, simply leave it blank and leave that area for your future drawing. Once you are 100% satisfied with your template, you've double checked everything, everything's perfect, simply click on your image and drag it onto your desktop. As you can see here, when I click on it, it's the exact same image that we just worked on, so that's the way you save it, and now you're ready to move on to the printing. Before you print it though, obviously it's important to size the card so that it is the exact same size as a normal Pokemon card, and doing this is actually very easy thanks to a new update in Google Docs where you can now do it natively with really no hassle at all. So simply open Google Docs, input your image. You can do this by inserting it or simply copying and pasting it into a Google Doc, and then all you're going to do is right click on the image, hit image options, which is right here on the bottom, and then you're going to hit size and rotation, which should pop up right here on the right. It's the very first option, and over here you're going to see an option to change the length and width. Now for a Pokemon card, this is 6.3 centimeters in width and 8.8 centimeters in length, so simply input those measurements, and now you've got a perfectly sized Pokemon card. Once you've done that, you are now ready to print. However, before you do that, I would highly recommend adding a couple duplicates of this same Pokemon card, just in case you make a mistake. Trust me, this has been very helpful to me, and will be very helpful, as you guys might see. Trust me, having duplicates is very much worth it. So for printing, you can use really any kind of paper that you'd like, but based on my other videos, I know a lot of you will be asking, so what I'm using is glossy photo paper. I think it looks really great, it's super shiny, but for beginners who are actually drawing their cards themselves, I would recommend just using standard paper because glossy photo paper is definitely a lot harder to draw, but it really does look nice. But anyways, I'm just going through the standard procedure here of printing, and soon my cards will turn out really nice. Alright, so now that you got your card printed, it's time to get into cutting, and for this, you will need a couple of materials. Firstly, of course, you will need your sheet of paper with your cards printed on it. Again, I really hope you guys printed duplicates. I can't stress the importance of this. It has been so helpful to me. Next, you also need an X-Acto knife, or scissors, or both. Both would be great. As you can see here, I do have two different types of X-Acto knives. First one is just the standard one that you've seen me use in many videos, but I also have this special crafts one that I recently got. If you have one of these, perfect, it works better. But really, anything that cuts, you'll be able to cut your cards with. So just have scissors or an X-Acto knife, or both again, would be great. After that, you would also want a ruler. This is pretty self-explanatory, but it's just for making straight cuts, so get one of those. I'm sure you have something like that. And finally, you also need a cutting board or something like that, just so that when you're making cuts, you're not ruining your desk. This is super important. As you can see here, I can make cuts and I'm not scratching up my desk, so you definitely don't want to be doing that either. So now we can finally begin the actual cutting. And before you do that though, I would highly recommend cutting your piece of paper into manageable sizes. That is, if you haven't used the entire piece of paper with templates. As you can see here, I'm just going to cut it in half. It just makes cutting a lot easier. As you can see here, I am using an X-Acto knife with a ruler, of course, and that is something I would highly recommend here. You could use scissors if you don't have an X-Acto knife, but I doubt you would be able to make as clean cuts, so really try and get an X-Acto knife. All I'm doing here is simply cutting out my template, so just go ahead, take your X-Acto knife, cut along all the edges, cut your template as clean as you can out of the piece of paper, and you're ready to move on. So now that you've successfully cut your template out, it's time to take your scissors. I know you've been absolutely dying to use those scissors, and it's time to round those corners. Obviously Pokemon cards are rounded, they're not sharp-edged rectangles, so take those scissors, round the corners. Be very careful here not to take off too much. It's always better to cut a little bit too less than too much, because if there's too much, then it'll look funny. I've made that mistake before, I've had to restart a couple times, so be careful when rounding those edges. Just do just as much as is needed. Don't go too hard on the rounding. And once those corners are rounded, you can officially put away your X-Acto knife, your scissors, everything. You are officially done with the cutting. And now it's time to apply this template right here to some kind of backing. Obviously, Pokemon cards aren't flimsy sheets of paper. They're pretty solid, they're pretty tough, so you want to make your card like that too. If you got access to actual Pokemon cards, which I know is asking a lot considering you're making them, but if you do, I find this is the easiest to use as a backing, as they're already the exact size, weight, absolutely everything. But if you do not have access to actual Pokemon cards, you could always just cut out a piece of cardboard that's 6.3 by 8.8 and use that. I'll be using Pokemon cards here because it's far easier, and you can simply take tape or glue. Glue if you want a more professional permanent solution, or tape if you're a little hesitant to ruin a Pokemon card. As you can see here, this Charizard I actually used tape on, and it turned out pretty great. I would recommend using tape as well. It's a little less permanent, but that might be a good thing. In any case, if this is your first time making a Pokemon card, I would definitely recommend using tape, as with glue, if you make a mistake, it's a little hard to fall back on. So simply take your template, take your Pokemon card or your piece of cardboard, and either tape or glue it on. So you've got your template applied, and at this point, all that's left is really to tidy up your Pokemon card. As you guys can see here, there's a little bit of white sticking off, so simply take your scissors or your X-Acto knife and cut that off. Don't be afraid, just makes your card look a lot nicer. Definitely do be careful here though, because you want to make sure not to trim off too much and then have a little bit too little Pokemon card rather than too much. Alright guys, so I made a huge mistake in trimming my card. I trimmed a bit too much off of the bottom left side and it's absolutely ruined it. As you can see here, that's not great, but that is why we printed too, and that's why I use tape. So this is proof right here that even I make mistakes, and why you should definitely take those precautions as well. So I'm gonna go get my other card, catch it up to where this one was, and I'll be right back. Alright, so Celebi number 2 here, and now that that's out of the way, let's just go ahead and pretend that none of that ever happened. I actually got really lucky with this one, and there's only a slight bit of white sticking out, but honestly nothing worth risking in the card, especially after the mistake I just made, so I'm just gonna go ahead and keep this one the way it is. As you can see here, it's really nothing. So once you've got your card, you've trimmed it, it's clean, it's perfect, your template is completely done, you're officially ready to move on to the drawing. In the case that you didn't do any drawing and you actually just printed your card right over here instead of this white box, then you'd be officially done and you'd have your own custom Pokemon card. Just like this Charizard right here. As you can see, this one's completely done. But of course, we also have our other Charizard. That one we drew. So, like that one, we're going to take this Celebi and we're going to draw a nice little Celebi on it. I've also got a little bit of a bonus for you guys after this, so make sure to stick around for that. And without further ado, let's get into the drawing. So like I said, if you've opted not to do the artwork yourself, and you've just printed a card, then great, you're done. You just created your very own custom Pokemon card. If that's the case though, like I said, be sure to stick around if you want to see how this Celebi turns out, and also for that bonus. But if not, if you haven't printed your card that is, and you're drawing it, then this is where the fun part begins, I think. Now, there's not much I can do to direct you here, especially since this is your very own drawing, but I wouldn't leave you guys without a couple tips. Firstly, I would highly recommend sketching out your card in a pencil first. Like I said, I am using glossy photo paper, so it is a bit tough, which you might see, but it's still super important. Sketching it out means that you can get an initial view of what your card will look like, and you can make changes before you do anything super permanent. Secondly, again, use whichever medium you like, and whichever one you're most comfortable with. You can use markers, pencil crayons, or even paint. I will be using Sharpies here, because I'm using glossy photo paper and pencil crayons don't exactly work. Sharpies look great. But that's about it. Like I said, there's really not much I can do to direct you here. It's your own drawing skills. I would highly recommend getting some kind of reference, maybe your phone or a tablet, have a picture that you're copying, maybe even an actual Pokemon card. But anyways, without further ado, let's get into this time lapse. So we're done. We just made and drew our very own card, and this was actually a super fun project, and I'm really happy with the way the Celebi turned out. It'll make a good addition to my Celebi collection. I'm sure you guys know I love Celebi, and this Charizard as well will make a great addition to really any collection. This pair right here is amazing. Now, as I said, I do have a little bonus for you guys. I will be doing a really cool special Shadow Celebi. So if you guys want to stick around for that, hopefully it'll create some extra inspiration when you're creating your own cards. You can look at these and maybe it'll spark some ideas. So without further ado, let's get into that Shadow Celebi. So here it is, Shadow Celebi. I think this thing turned out absolutely incredible. It's so sick, honestly. Look, when you shift it to the side, all you see is his eyes, or her eyes. All you see is Celebi's eyes. It looks insane. Other way as well, all you see is the eyes. I really wish they actually did this with real Pokemon cards. As you guys can see up top, I even have Shadow written down over here. How cool would that be if they did Charizard? Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video where I showed you guys how to make your very own Pokemon cards like I have right here. I have my Charizard and my Celebis. As always, make sure to subscribe, and I'd really love if you guys stuck around for this long and you did your own projects. I'd really love if you guys send them to me on Instagram or Twitter at Witkomon, so be sure to do that. I'd love to see them, and without further ado, stay tuned for the next video.